crowd coming out today and online. Okay, do I have to show this? This is being recorded. Okay. All right, there we go. Well, it's clear everybody wants to know all about eating for a healthy brain. So I'm glad you are here because I think that's really, really important. But first we got a couple things. Oh, sorry. First of all, it's March, so it's National Nutrition Month. I'm sure you all have been just celebrating like crazy. And their theme this year is Food Connects Us. And I think this program is such a good representation of that because we're all about the food and everybody has different flavors and tastes and things that they like. And we bring them, and the potlucks help to share all that. So I'm really glad you're here, and I hope you enjoy National Nutrition Month. And then of course it's Mardi Gras. So happy Mardi Gras. I did bring my beads. I did buy them. I didn't get them the way you might think I did. I bought them. So I was looking up a few facts for Mardi Gras. So do you know why the colors are green, gold, and purple? Okay, so green. Oh, Paul, help me out. Green was for faith. Thank you. Faith. For faith.
Faith, hope, and charity.
Faith. Is it? Oh, no, but that would be really cool. Faith, hope, and charity. No, the purple is for, I've already forgotten it. Oh, Paul. I saved it on my phone.
Purple is justice.
It's justice. Okay. Green is faith and gold is power. Power. And one version I read, it was power and God. So that's why they use those colors. They make this king cake, and the king cake has a baby cooked in it. So if you get a piece with the baby, I think that represents good luck or something, or cannibalism. Yes. But has anybody been to Mardi Gras before in New Orleans? No, I never have either. I think that would be kind of fun someday.
The police are on strike this year, so
oh, it's gonna be interesting. Well, I saw it on the news this morning, and they all dress so wild that I don't know what I'd wear. It's gonna take me years to figure out what to wear. So okay, so back to our brains. That's what we're talking about today is brain health, eating for brain health. And so Alzheimer's is the 7th leading cause of death in the United States. 1 in 3 seniors die with Alzheimer's or dementia, which is actually more than breast cancer and prostate cancer combined. More than 7 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's. And the last time I did this slide, it's been a few years, it was 6 million. So it's kind of going up. Deaths from heart disease have been going down a bit, but Alzheimer's been going up. And since it's known that once a person gets Alzheimer's disease, there's not much that can be done about it. So prevention really is the key. And that's not fair to say there's not much that can be done about it. They're finding new treatments. They're finding new testing things. A study I'll tell you about just found that there was a good way that might possibly reverse some of the effects of mild cognitive impairment. So, but prevention is where it's at so that we never have to deal with that. So that's what we're talking about. The eating is we want to prevent getting to that stage. So I don't know if you've ever seen this. It's from the American Heart Association, actually, and they call it the Essential 8, Life's Essential 8. It used to be Essential 7. And these are things that were supposed to help you reduce your risk of having a heart attack or a stroke. So this was created by the American Heart Association. But doing the things that are on this list are also important for our brain, because what we're going to find out is that a lot of the health problems that were associated in our country with chronic disease are all risk factors for Alzheimer's. In fact, I don't know if you've had anybody in your family with Alzheimer's. My dad had dementia, and we took him into the neurologist, and I just wanted them to say, okay, this is what you have. This is what we have to do. But they didn't say that. What they did was they looked at all the things all the risk factors and tried to fix those first. Get his blood pressure in line, get his cholesterol in line, get his sleeping in line. And because all those could possibly be the problem, not having dementia. So the things on our Life's Essential 8. So it's eating right. I don't love that they have a fish there, but you know, they're the Heart Association. Exercise. That little thing is a machine to test your blood sugar. Although if you have diabetes now, you know there's ones that are way fancier that you don't have to poke your finger anymore. The scale means we want to have a healthy weight. We want lipids or cholesterol. We want to have those lower or a good range in our bloodstream. That's a blood pressure cup. So we want to have our blood pressure controlled. We don't want to smoke. We want to get plenty of sleep. And you know, that's the one they added over the last few years. The sleep was not included when they first came out with this life essential number. So now sleep has been shown to be so very important for all chronic diseases. And what I love about our program is that we work on all those areas. So if any of those happen to be your thing or your little bugaboo, we're going to find somewhere here to help you figure that out. So Alzheimer's versus dementia. So Alzheimer is a kind of dementia. So dementia is like the umbrella, and then Alzheimer is a specific type. So Alzheimer's is a type of dementia. We get dementia, which might be our decline in our memory. We don't think as well. We don't do things as well. And they might start as mild cognitive impairments. I know that's where my dad started out. And then it turns into Alzheimer's, and that counts for like 60 to 80% of the dementia cases. I know it's a substantial amount, right? So then, so what makes it like, oh, maybe I don't. I thought I had a slide that talked about the little plaques. Oh, maybe I don't. So the Alzheimer's is defined by plaques in your brain, the amyloid. Yes?
Is it the dementia becomes Alzheimer's, or are they kind of parallel issues? And the other question, I know that dementia is showing.
I think it's the things that contribute to the dementia that kind of get us. So just like with diabetes, it's not diabetes often that might be our cause of death. It's the having a heart attack or having a stroke. So I'm not quite sure the answer to your question, but if you know someone who's had dementia, they decline so much that they're not taking care of themselves, that they're not able to eat on their own, that they have such a poor quality of life that I wonder if that's what kills them. I don't know. Carrie, do you know?
That's what happened to my wife, actually.
Yeah. So, I mean, you don't die from poor memory, but it is one of the leading causes of death.
Dementia?
Alzheimer's, yeah.
Oh, is dementia kind of an umbrella?
Right. Right. So I think it's the things that come along with it and your quality of life. And it's very sad. And if that happened to your wife, I'm so, so sorry, because that's very difficult. So then there's risk factors for dementia. I'm kind of lumping it all together, dementia / Alzheimer's. And this is the things, if you go into a neurologist, that they want to take care of before they call it dementia or Alzheimer's. Get our blood pressures in line. What's the best thing we can do to help with our blood pressure?
Exercise.
Exercise or what? Fall?
Salt.
Salt. Oh, I think they said you fall. I was trying to think how that would be. Okay, yeah, salt, exactly. We watch our diet. We cut back on our salt. We exercise. And the thing is, for almost all of these, we have very similar things we can do to treat them.
Drink plenty of water.
Drink plenty of water, always the answer. Diabetes. So you might say, oh, to take care of my diabetes, I need to cut back on sugar, maybe? But it's not really just sugar, right? We want to watch what we eat. We want to eat more fruits and vegetables. We want to exercise. We want to maintain a healthy weight. Those things help with our diabetes.
Get plenty of sleep.
Get plenty of sleep. Drink plenty of water.
Thank you.
Obesity. Extra weight increases our risk of dementia or Alzheimer's. Smoking. You know, there's just really nothing good about smoking. So we'll just leave it at that. And if you are a smoker, or if you're a secret smoker and don't want to tell us, you can call 1-800-NO-BUTS. and they will help you. No, that's a really serious number. And they will help you to quit smoking. Cognitive inactivity, and this could mean that you don't use your brain that much, so you might have a lower education level, and maybe you don't do that many things to challenge your brain. Physical inactivity, so we want to get moving. That's true for all of these. Social isolation, depression, and hearing loss. Hearing loss can be so isolating. And so when I said my dad, we took him in, he ended up getting a lot of these things fixed. You know, he got hearing aids, and he got on a medication for depression, and he had a sleep study, and he did lots of different things to help rule out Alzheimer's. Sadly, we didn't rule it out, and these all happen slowly as our cognition goes down and gets into Alzheimer's. So what's the best eating style for your brain? And this is just overall, you know, here, and if you're new to us, we are all about the whole food, plant-based diet, whole food, plant-based way of eating, because it's the one way of eating that's been shown to help reverse chronic disease like diabetes and heart disease and high blood pressure. I know everybody's not there, but we're all kind of moving in that direction. We're all on some part of that journey. But for our brain, it's eating anti-inflammatory foods. And guess where we find those? A whole food, plant-based diet. Of course. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains. Also, a diet that's low in saturated fat and trans fat. So saturated fats are the solid fats that we find mostly in animal foods, although there are a couple plant foods that have saturated fat. Do you know what those are? Coconut and palm kernel oil. Yeah. And you might say, I never use palm kernel. I don't even know what that is. It's in the things, packaged foods that we buy. That's where they might put it. It's a fat that lasts a long time and doesn't go bad. Girl Scout cookies. Is it? Don't tell me it's in Girl Scout cookies.
I haven't bought them in years, so I don't know.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, well, good for you. We shouldn't, but I will tell you that Lent starts tomorrow. And so I did have a Thin Mint for breakfast. So I'm just telling you, because they are accidentally vegan. And so I had one. That'll be my last one. Okay, so anti-inflammatory foods also are in our veggies. I've mentioned high fiber. You know, when we eat high fiber, we have these bacteria in our gut that break it down, turn it into these short chain fatty acids called, some are called butyrate, and that's actually good for our brain. So high fiber is really good for our brain. Low in animal products, that would be a good eating style for our brain, because our animal products are often inflammatory, and they are low in fiber, and they're high in saturated fat. We want to eat lots of spices. Spices are very anti-inflammatory. So especially when we're cutting back on salt, you got to do something to make up for that. So we use lots of spice. And they include vitamin E rich foods like nuts, seeds, vegetable oils. I do those in a small amount, and greens are all good for our brain. So that's the kind of thing we want to all lump together. So there was some research, and Dr. Ornish did this, it might have been 4 years ago he started this study. And remember, Dr. Ornish was the first one really to get out there and show that heart disease could be reversed by a whole food, plant-based diet. And so he did a reversing Alzheimer's study. And so this study, it was the first randomized controlled trial to see if the progression of Alzheimer's could be reversed by a lifestyle program, not just diet, but a lifestyle program. So no drugs, no devices, no surgery. So the bottom line of this, and I think he has a book called this, Eat Well, Love More, Stress Less, Move More. That was the basis of his program. So they ate whole real foods. It was low fat and low sugar. It was plant-based, and all that was moderate. Added to that was moderate activity, stress management, including meditation, and psychosocial support. And so the first time I showed this, his results weren't in yet. In fact, that last line, it said, and to be continued. And now it's been continued. Now we know the results. These came out in 2024. His intervention group, which was the group that did all that stuff that we talked about on the previous slide. And these people all had mild cognitive impairment going in. So what they saw improvements in, and I can't remember how long it was, maybe just, it might have only been 20 weeks. It improved cognitive function, brain markers. They look at the plaque buildup in our brain, and those improved. So there's our amyloid plaques. They had a decrease in the amyloid plaques, which is what shows that it's Alzheimer's. So the bottom line was that this whole lifestyle program, the food, plus the stress management, plus the social support, plus the exercise, all helped to slow or even reverse the Alzheimer's. Now, when his results came out, of course, he was on every podcast that I listened to, and he told stories about people, what they experienced. Like one guy said, like he couldn't like read a book before when going into the study, and now he could. Or he couldn't pay his bills, and now he could. So it showed that we could slow it down or maybe even reverse it. Now, of course, this was a small study. There was only 51 people. So we really have to get a bigger study for a longer period. But what the heck, what is the harm in trying all this now? I know it makes me want to try it more and try harder and not have any more Thin Mints ever again. So if we're doing a whole food plant-based diet, and this is what he did in his study, he added a few supplements too. And one of the supplements he included was lion's mane. That's a mushroom that's been shown to help with brain health. And he included that. You can eat just lion's mane itself too, as a mushroom, but he included that. But basically what the foods are whole grains, beans and lentils for your protein. We got fruits and vegetables, and then we have some nuts and seeds. There's those vitamin E foods. Now, I want to tell you that last time I was showing some, I showed this similar picture, and John had a really great suggestion. And he said, we should show some real food, like the food we eat. And John, you're right. I finally took one picture of my food that I thought would be a good representation, and I forgot to bring it. But we're going to work on that. We're going to work on that. But this is basically just whole real food. This is a whole food plant-based diet. Now, what you'll often hear too about Alzheimer's is this diet called the MIND diet. It's a combination of the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diet. The DASH diet was this huge study in the 90s called Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. And in that study, they found that if we ate more fruits and vegetables and watched our salt, even just a little bit, it improved our blood pressure. So this MIND diet is one that's been studied. They've kind of combined the two. And they found that it lowered risk of Alzheimer's. And what I like is 53% of the participants who strictly followed the diet, it lowered their risk. But 35% who kind of only did it so-so still had an improvement. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have to do all this, don't worry. Even just doing it somewhat helps get you there. So what they ate on the MIND diet is they ate more fruits and vegetables, whole grains, beans. They do include a little salmon, which breaks my heart, but they do. But what we didn't have was a bunch of processed foods, things in a box or can that you don't know what's on the label. So here's just another picture to represent the MIND diet. Because I think especially people who aren't quite ready for a whole food plant-based, although I hope you will be at some point, this was what they found. They ate their whole grains. They had their greens. They had berries twice a week, super anti-inflammatory berries. They had nuts every day. They ate beans or legumes. Legumes would be like lentils or split peas. They had those. They did have chicken twice a week, fish once a week. And it says here, notice alcohol was part of it, and that's why everyone loves the Mediterranean diet, because you get a little wine, right? But if you don't drink alcohol, purple grape juice provides many of the same benefits. Well, and so did just grapes. But even, and this study was done in 2015. That was 10 years ago. So I'd like to see this study done again, because one thing you find when you start looking at all the Alzheimer's research right now and all the brain health research, there is nothing good about alcohol. Another thing that breaks my heart, but there is nothing good about it. So most of the studies and the gurus say don't drink alcohol or drink it as little as you can.
So much for your plans.
I know, you're right. You're right. I'm gonna be doing some mocktails. Some mocktails. So you see at the bottom of our mind diet, they eat maybe a little butter, maybe a little cheese and fast food, but not very often. So they eat mostly that stuff up at the top. So this would be it in a nutshell too. What do we get to eat for our brain? So green leafies, excellent, and other vegetables too. Those berries and other fruits, nuts and seeds, whole grains, beans and lentils, healthy fats in moderation. So that would be like avocado, olives, nuts. And notice that's the whole fat, not the oil from the fat. And that's one thing we've learned over the last number of years is that the oil is really not as great as the whole real food. And then if you must, fish and lean poultry, but plants are preferred. But what we're definitely want to eat less often, again, you might want to start on this side. Okay, I'm going to eat less red meat. And I would throw in there processed meat too. What's a processed meat? Bologna, good example. Yeah, he's right there that way. Yeah, bologna, pepperoni, sausage, salami, good one. Okay. Butter or stick margarine, that's high in saturated fat. Cheese, high in saturated fat. Pastries and sweets, high usually in saturated fat and sugars. Fried, and look, alcohol.
What about the processed these foods?
Processed plant-based foods, we want to eat as whole real food as we can. So if you're talking about like Impossible or Beyond Burgers,
Striplers.
yeah, those kind of fake meats, they have shown, and they've done studies with those, and they show that they still make improvements, but not as much improvement as if you ate beans, let's say, or something else, or tofu. But I think they're good to help you make a transition. Sometimes it's hard to give those up. And if you love meat, like on our meatless Mondays, my husband will eat those little veggie meatballs, and that helps him to want to not just dread having dinner that night. So I think there's a place for them, but really, I think they're more of a transition.
Yeah.
Yes,
For the nuts and seeds, I assume we're talking unsalted.
preferred.
Okay.
Yeah, the raw ones and raw. Yeah, preferred. But it's because we're watching our salt. So good question. I'm putting this up because these people, the Schurzeyes, Dean and Aisha Schurzey, they put out this book, The 30-Day Alzheimer's Solution. I'm not promoting the book as much as their ideas and them. They are on all the podcasts. They've got their own podcast. In fact, I didn't put it on a slide, but I really got to tell you about their podcast. If you ever listen to podcasts, look for them. They have one called Your Brain On, and fill in the blank. The first one I listened to was Your Brain on Retirement. And they've done Your Brain on Leg Strength. And the one I just listened to this week is Your Brain on Music. And they have specialists who come talk, and they're very, very interesting. I really like them. I think they're the people I really trust the most about their research. And so they wrote this book. I'm not sure why they put a whole big cheesecake on the front, but they did. But I like I love an acronym. And so their acronym is NEURO. The things that are most important for our brain health is nutrition, E for exercise, U for unwind or decrease your stress, R for restorative sleep. So that's not just sleep, it's like good resting sleep. And O for optimize cognitive reserve and connections. So my little pictures are meant to represent things. So we got our good nutrition up there. We've got our heart working out really hard. We've got our de-stress, our connections. So we're making connections, social connections, because isolation is a big risk factor for Alzheimer's. And I put the drums there just because we want to always keep using our brain. So maybe learn something new. You could learn a language. You could do a crossword puzzle. You could learn an instrument. All those are helpful for our brain connections too. So I like that little acronym. Oh, and here's their diet. very similar to others. I'm showing you today like 3 or 4 different ideas for diets. They all basically say the same thing, but sometimes I think some speak to us a little differently than others. So you pick the one you like the best. But this one, they want you to get your dark green leafies. Okay, who here gets 3 cups of dark green leafies a day? Okay, good job. Got a couple of. So, well, we got to have a little something to work on. So we could, in fact, when you come in 2 weeks, John and I are having a green food party. So you want to come for that. And John has a new recipe I bet we're going to try. Getting whole grains, at least 3 half-cup servings of whole grains. Whole grains, oatmeal, barley, quinoa, brown rice, cornmeal we had in our dish today. What else? I'm missing some. What's your favorite whole grain? Cashew nut. That's not a whole grain, but do love some cashew nuts.
You said oats. milk.
Oats, wheat. Oh, thank you. Whole wheat. I know, how could I forget the baby? You're right. Whole wheat. So we want to have our whole grains. We want to have some seeds, a couple tablespoons a day of seeds. That would be like flaxseed, hemp seeds, sesame seeds, chia seeds, sunflower seeds, beans and legumes, 3 half-cup servings a day. Do you think you get 3 servings a day of your beans and legumes? Okay, John's going, yeah, I do. I know I do. John does. Well, what?
It's all in Missouri.
It is. Okay, we all could do that. We could strive for that. And today you did just at lunch with Ashka's lentil soup and my garbanzo bean thing. So we got it. Berries, half a cup a day. Do you think you get half a cup of berries? Yeah.
You include tomatoes and berries.
I don't, but are they technically a berry? Tomatoes? They're fruits?
Yeah.
Well, I think we could have tomatoes. That would be good. But if you're having trouble with berries, I get it, because I do too, especially when it's not summertime and they're not cheaper at the store, but getting frozen is fine. There's our nuts, 1/4 cup a day. Cruciferous vegetables, these are the ones that help fight cancer too. This would be like broccoli, cabbage, Brussels, cauliflower, a cup a day. This one I think it could be hard, that one. Tea, who here loves tea? Tea? Yeah, we love our tea. So we want to drink more tea, that's okay, a cup a day. And herbs and spices, at least a 1/4 teaspoon, which I bet if we cook it all at home or sprinkle cinnamon on our oatmeal, right? We get that. So I think this is pretty doable for me. Here's another look. This would be what we would eat to stay on a whole food plant-based diet. This is from PCRM, that's Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, Dr. Neil Barnard and people. So, and he's kind of given us some things to swap out. So instead of cow's milk, cheese, and yogurt, switch to non-dairy alternatives. What's your favorite non-dairy milk? Anybody?
Almond.
The almond. I hear all. Okay, I hear that.
soy.
Soy. Okay, soy. Oat. Okay, so we got lots of different ones. Replace your processed and red meat with plant protein, like from beans or tofu. But if we need to transition, your point's well taken, Leanne, that maybe those processed meats that are fake meats might be okay for transitioning. I aim for at least 2 servings of fruit and 3 servings of veggies a day, especially our dark green leafies. They give us those antioxidants, they're anti-inflammatory, they have high fiber, which create lots of butyrate in our gut, which helps our brain. Get plenty of B vitamins. We get this from our food easily. You don't need to take a B complex. But B vitamins would be from our beans and lentils, asparagus, walnuts. There's our dark greens again. There's our whole grains again. Edamame, tofu, those would be our soy products right there. Nuts, bananas, avocado. We just are not throwing tomatoes in anywhere, are we? I'm sorry, we're throwing tomatoes under the bus.
What about chili?
Chilies would be good. Chilies would be
Another
good.
fresh fruit.
Yes, you're right. Get omega-3s. This is why they say have these seeds. Chia seeds, hemp seeds, flaxseed. Those have those omega-3s, which are really good for our brain health. And supplement with vitamin B12 if you are only eating plant foods, because we can't get B12 from really anything else. So if it's in our food, our animal foods. So if you don't eat any animal foods, we do need to take a B12. And I think we talked about last time, as we get older, we need to take a B12 anyway, because it's harder for us to absorb that B12. Does anybody here take a B12?
I do.
Okay, thank you.
I take Lucha
Me
every
too.
day.
You do your nooch every day. Okay, all right. I take a B12
And
Okay.
D3, you didn't mention.
and a D3. Okay, D3. So I have it there.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. D3. So we want to eat plenty of veggies. Dark greens are great. We want to have them at lunch and dinner, or maybe even breakfast. I know John has some at breakfast. So do you think you get plenty? What was that? 2 fruits, 3 cups of veggies a day? Think you get enough veggies? What? You try? That's right. That's all we can do. That's all we can do is try. But we can make a habit of it by just always having it at lunch and dinner at least, if you don't throw it into breakfast. I know when I worked and I did food logs, people would save all their vegetables for dinner and nobody was having 5 servings at dinner. So don't save it for dinner. Eat it throughout the day. Dr. Esselstyn would say to have it 6 times a day, have your dark greens 6 times a day. That's asking a lot. But we love our dark greens. We love our vegetables. And then our fruit. This I think is a little bit easier to get. 2 to 4 servings per day. Think you're doing okay with fruit?
Bread,
Yeah.
sauce,
Yeah.
Blueberries on oatmeal.
Okay, we got lots of berries. Okay.
Mhm.
You know, sometimes I think it gets a little harder in the winter when all you have are apples and oranges. But we have, what else do we have? Pears.
Bananas.
Bananas, thank you. You're right. You know, and there are a lot of good deals on blueberries right now. Why is that?
And blueberries.
They're 24, or they're a 12-month crop now.
They are? Okay. That's good. Okay, we aim for our whole grains, at least 3 servings of whole grains. That's a half cup serving. So if we had a slice of bread, that's 1 serving. If we had a sandwich, we just ate 2. If you had some of that polenta chili stuff up there, you just had a serving. 1 cup of ready to eat cereal, half cup of it's cooked, like rice, pasta, hot cereal. Who here likes their oatmeal in the morning? I know lots of us do. Okay. And you know, that dish I made today with the cornmeal, you can have that for breakfast. What country has that for breakfast? Cornmeal. Is it Costa Rica? Somewhere they have like cornmeal mush for breakfast. Can't think of where. And we want to have the whole intact grains. These are pictures of whole intact grains. It's like brown rice is a whole intact grain. A Rice Krispie isn't. And so we want to just have it as whole as possible. So are rice cakes a waste of eating? No. I don't think nutritionally they got a whole lot going on, but they're fun. And they're low calorie and they're filled with air, so they give it some volume. So I don't think they're bad for you, but they just don't add they don't add much quality, I guess. A tomato, I don't think so. Yeah, so that's like saying, you know, I'm having those veggie chips to get my veggies in a day. They put like this much in, but it's okay. They're harmless. And then we want to be careful about our fats. We want to watch out on our saturated fats. Fried foods. There's like our Krispy Kremes right there. And then replace choose fats wisely. So instead of saturated fat, replace them with our healthy fats. There's our avocado, there's our nuts. I go easy on the oils. The oils, they just really squeeze the oil out and leave a lot of the good stuff behind. So I just go easy on it. And then we want to stay hydrated. And one thing that they really talk about for Alzheimer's is not having sugary beverages. So we're drinking water. or we're having mocktails that don't like might be club soda, or you do the soda stream still. Do you still do your soda stream? So we want to have water, decaf tea, yes.
Stumbled into sugar-free ginger ale.
Mhm.
Yes, it. Oh,
Yeah.
got like a break even? Plus, no, it's better than drinking ginger ale with tons of sugar.
Absolutely. So ginger, sugar-free beverages in general, if they add artificial sweetener, they're better than drinking the real deal. And you know, the artificial sweeteners are just still, the jury's out, I guess. Sometimes they think they're good for you. Sometimes they think they're bad for you. Sometimes they think they're killing us. The question is, do those artificial sweeteners do something to our gut microbiome? And the trouble with the artificial sweeteners in a lot of the studies, and if it's not their trouble for you, then it's no big deal, is that because it's sweet, it gears you up to want sweet, and it causes you maybe to want to eat more stuff that's sweet. So I know my mother-in-law had a Diet Coke every day for lunch. It did not make her want to eat anything else. And like, that's okay. So I would say water's better, but I think it's not a bad choice.
I go lemonade instead of soda.
Okay, so lemonade instead of soda is still a
It's still
sugary
got sugar.
beverage,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have phosphorus in it, so it's got some things going for it.
What about those zero sugar?
Those have just a multiple kind, those zero sodas, to those people listening, sorry. The zero sodas just have multiple kinds of sweeteners, because you know, we have so many artificial sweeteners now. So there's just a different recipe for each of those that call them zero, if that's what you mean. Or if you mean those ones that are like club soda that just have flavoring in them, those are fine. Those generally don't have sweeteners. And you can buy, I think every store brand has one of those, or those hint waters, or those bubblies, or LaCroix, all those kind of hip beverages.
Water system.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, or you can take your water and you can infuse it. Let's do that. This is from the Alzheimer's Association, and they say, okay, because I'm all about the food, but there's so many other things that affect our brain health, right? So here's what they're saying, how to love your brain. So challenge your brain. And that means like doing your crosswords, doing puzzles, learning an instrument, learning a language, learning dance moves, all those things. And, you know, a lot of those things I heard, in fact, I think I heard the Shirzai say, if you do crosswords, that's really great. And it makes you really good at crosswords. But if you learn to play the clarinet, now you're learning to read music, you're learning to listen to the music and make changes in it. You're learning on multiple levels. Same with like dance moves, take line dancing. So or take a Zumba class. You got to learn these new moves and you're exercising. Stay in school, meaning they want you to keep learning. Be a lifelong learner. And I think of the people I've met here, I think everybody is. Everybody loves to come here and they're always learning new things. Keep moving, so exercise, protect your head, because multiple concussions can definitely increase your risk of dementia or Alzheimer's. Don't smoke, manage your diabetes. And you know, if you need help managing your diabetes, let us know so we can help you. I am a diabetes educator. We've got great nurses here. We can all help you with your diabetes. I'd also encourage you to go see a diabetes educator at whoever your health system is. It will be covered under Medicare. Control your blood pressure. Again, we're happy to help you with that. Eat right. Of course, to me, eat right is eating whole, real foods and little animal foods. Maintain a healthy weight. And if you're not a healthy weight now, that's okay. We'll just work towards that. That's all right. And then sleep well. And you know, on another list I saw, I just kept finding all these lists. One said, limit alcohol. I noticed I left that one off. Yes. So let's say you think, okay, this is cool. I want to have a great brain. I'm ready to make some changes. You don't have to do it all, right? And you want to maybe set a goal. So we have these things, we talk about them a lot, are SMART goals. And S stands for specific, M is measurable, A is attainable, R is relevant, like to your life, or realistic. Time bound, like how long you're going to do it. And then I'd add to this your reward. What are you going to do when you do this? Now, some people will tell me, oh yeah, I am going to, my SMART goal is I want to lose 10 pounds. That's, bless you, that's really your outcome. You need to make changes, set little goals to get you to your outcome. Or I want to eat plant-based. Okay, how are you going to do that? So here's one. I will eat greens, very specific. So greens would be like kale, thank you, spinach, bok choy, chard, lettuce. The darker green, the better. But yes, like romaine, and then go even darker. So I'll eat greens. I'm going to do that 5 days a week. And then is that attainable? If I question myself, yeah, it's attainable. I think I could do that. Is it realistic? Yeah, it actually is. Now, if you find it's not, you change that goal up to be realistic for you. And then how long am I going to do that? I'm going to do it for 4 weeks. And then after 4 weeks, when I have done that, and maybe, I'm not going to be perfect every day. I know, it's all right. I'm going to go out dancing, or I'm going to take a trip, or I'm going to invite friends over, or I'm going to buy a magazine. I love magazines. I used to get all kinds of magazines, and now I never do. So that's always my reward, is I'm going to buy a magazine. Oh, I do that too. I know. Well, it could be so long, I don't care, because I got to get through this article. Yeah, I know. So I really encourage everybody to set SMART goals. And I'm super goal oriented. I know everyone isn't, but this is what helps you to reach your ultimate outcome that you want. It's just these little goals. And I think that's all I have. That is. Okay. So what do you guys think? Well, we went to talk. Where's Ashika? Ashika, will you come talk about your recipe? I thank Ashika for making that lentil soup. It was yummy. She'll come tell you about it. So mine was this like polenta on the bottom. It's just cornmeal and water. Polenta usually has much yummier stuff in it. So I think next time I would add some different spice or onion, grated onion. I love that idea. And then you made this chickpea, roasted tomato, roasted corn, green chilies on top. It calls for a tablespoon of tamari, which is gluten-free soy sauce. And somehow I left both of those things out. So it would have been saltier, I think, with it. How did you think it tasted? Was it all right?
A little bit black.
It needed salt. Everything I make needs salt, I think. You're right. So next time I would make it, I would just spice it up a lot more with more spice. And tell us about the lentil soup. Okay. Yes. Tell us how you made it.
So basically it's 2 steps. We're just gonna combine everything except for the spinach. And then you cook it on slow for 2 hours. It only takes an hour. And so, and then I added the spinach at the end. But what I did add at the beginning, I added the onions, carrots, potatoes, 16 ounces of lentils, so like a whole bag of it. Instead of fire roasted tomato, we just use unsalted canned diced tomatoes. There was like 0 salt. The bouillon packet had 0 salt in it.
Excellent. Okay, very good.
And then since there was no salt, I added extra seasonings. I added Italian seasoning, paprika, and chili powder.
That jazzed it up a lot. Good. It was very good. All right. Thank you for making that for us.
And tell them my favorite part.
Oh,
When you said, I would never have eaten this.
yeah, I grew up at a very big eater, like limited palate, so the moment there I'm starting to add food to my diet. Every single thing in this, I would have not eaten.
Really? So what would your mom do? Make something else for you?
No, I just didn't eat.
Oh,
Very.
uh-huh.
All right.
Well, I'm glad you're opening your mouth and
Palate,
your
yeah,
mind
yes.
and your palate, as expanding your palate. That's
Yes.
good. Okay. Thank you for making that. And Marty, what do you have coming for us?
So I have banana bread, but in a little square can. I'm gonna call it banana cake. So I used
I made some date syrup, as the sugar. So I made homemade date syrup to put inside of it. And then I used some, maple syrup as well for sweetener. I use gluten-free flour because that's how I bake. I try to bake with more gluten-free stuff and, no white sugar, just to keep the glycemic index down.
Mm-hmm.
And also dates naturally lower your glycemic index. So that's really kind of another nice added feature to using dates for sugar instead of white sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then it has the traditional stuff of, little bit of, tiny bit of oil in there and, no eggs. So it's all, vegan.
Did you use anything in place of egg?
No, I just use, applesauce.
Applesauce? And what about in place of the fat? Because your recipe called for half a cup of fat.
Yes. So
Or
I
oil.
used a full cup of
Applesauce. Perfect. A good replacement. Okay, good. And how did it turn out? Is it over there?
It's coming. It's still baking.
Okay, well, that will be our dessert. Okay, thank you, ladies. Good job. And so now thinking about our brain health, anything you feel like you'd like to try to help improve your brain health?
Maybe I'll go back to school.
Oh, yes.
I'll be so smart.
Oh, well, okay,
Well,
Yes.
Kevin last week was talking about learning a foreign language.
okay.
And what was I talking about?
Que pasa?
For you were helping your brain,
Mahjong,
Oh, legs.
leg exercise.
that's right. So you should listen to that, your brain on leg exercises, because that was a really good one.
That's
So
doable.
big muscles, lots of blood flowing. And so that blood's going to your brain too. So Elsa's the one who sent me this article about leg exercising, helping cognitive function. So
So the treadmill, like,
that's not a bad one. Anything using your legs, treadmill, bike,
Sit to
rowing,
stands.
sit to stands, wall sit, one of my favorites, no one else's favorite.
Oh, I hate it, but I've been doing it for my blood pressure. Ugh.
Anyway, so leg strength.
Okay, that's a good one. All right. What else? Anything else? Anything we want to try? Anything new? Do tell. Okay. So limoncello, okay. All right.
What does that mean, Dodie? What's in limoncello? Is that a beverage or a?
Uh-huh. It's like a liqueur.
Oh,
Yeah.
Use it in lemon martinis, lemon drops.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, it was fun and we got little bombs.
Super cute. Oh, that's good. Okay, well, I encourage you to kind of think about it and think if there's anything working on your sleep, working on your exercise, working on your brain challenges, working on your nutrition, whatever you can do, because we want to fight this thing. Okay, so thank you for coming today. And 2 weeks, we're going to do green party food, green food party, green food party. Okay,
Okay.
yes.
What's the date?